Okay, so here are the rails, and here is our show.
Completely off. Completely gone today. What in the world? Derailed. Yay, you're here. Welcome to the CK and GK podcast. Let's get going. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. It's going to be great.
Welcome to the very first episode of TopKnotTalk. With me is Caitlin, the mom of a dinosaur-loving 5-year-old boy, and I don't even know, like maybe 18 cats.
It's closer to 3, but 18. It sometimes it feels like that.
It must feel like
that. It does feel that way. And across from me, in her home is Frasier Crane in Seattle.
I'm listening.
That's Jenny, and she's just a really awesome lady who also is a mom and who really enjoys Frasier.
I don't know how much I enjoy it as much as I'm just proud that I've seen every episode.
Well, that's fair.
It's like I accomplished something. I finished it.
It is a really good spinoff. It's a really good spinoff. If you have to go spinoff territory.
He is the longest sitcom character in American television.
Right? What's the year? It's like, what, like 20 years or something like that?
20-something, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
All
right, well, there you go.
All
right, well.
So, back to business.
We're two moms.
Who are also teachers.
And we pretend to adult on a regular basis.
We know a lot of things.
Oh my gosh, but we do not know even more things.
Our podcast is a little about a lot.
A random, crazy, assorted lot. Yes.
And our approach to teaching is all about fun and practicality. So come and laugh and learn with us.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So, like you heard, this is our first episode. This is Top Knot Talk, and the name comes from the idea that sometimes when things get real, you just throw your hair up in a top knot and you get to work. So each week you'll hear from us about lots of different things, what's going on in our personal life, what's going on at work, but also what did we have to learn this week? And what do we think you need to know about it?
Yeah, I mean, and these are things that'll help you, not act like a noob in your first encounter with various situations. So it's really all about, what did we experience and what did we, feel awkward about at one point or another, and how can we help you feel less awkward in that same situation? And
this is just a short little talk, the very tip of the iceberg.
The Cliff's Notes version.
The Cliff's Notes version of a hot topic for us that might be hot for you. This week, we're going to talk about Botox.
The God-given, man-made wonder that is Botox. If there were angel sounds, it would happen right around that word, Botox. Because that's how much I love it. And hopefully you'll love it too.
Or if not, we're going to teach you enough for you to know maybe you won't.
Right. Maybe it's not for you. And that's okay too. It is for me. It is for me.
She says as she looks up to the heavens.
Again, God-given, man-made. I'll take it.
All right. So before we dig in,
let's have some circle time. Yeah?
So circle time. You remember in preschool, you would come to the carpet and sit in circle time and have a share.
Yeah, a little crisscross applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce. That's right. I want to talk a little bit about what is going on in sports and our Go Sports.
Yeah, Go Sports. And we, just to be clear, this Go Sports segment, Jenny and I both enjoy sports, although I wouldn't say we are the most knowledgeable of fans, right? Like
if
it's on TV, I'll watch it and probably be entertained, but that doesn't mean I know everything about it or whatever. But we wanted to make sure that we hit up some great stories that have happened in the world of sports. fill you in and give you a little bit of information to help you feel a little bit more confident in these conversations that are happening around you.
Right. And if you're looking for even more information than we're providing, shout out to The Gist. We're not associated.
Oh, for sure.
But this is a great group of women who have put together all kinds of information about what's happening in the world of sports right now.
Oh, yeah.
And it allows you to go into the break room, pour yourself a cup of coffee and say, hey, did you see what they did last night? Mm-hmm. So,
and they have a great Instagram account too for very quick little snippets of information. So it's The Gist. So,
and again, this is not a commercial.
No.
But we would be happy to offer that
I would
service.
love that. I would love that. The Gist, if you want to hit us up.
So, this week in the world of sports, and, shout out to those of you in the future, because we are recording this at a different time than when it is airing.
Truth.
But this week, in the world of sports, it is the Stanley Cup Finals.
Very exciting time.
So before we talk too much about what the hockey finals are, I thought I'd just give you some basics of the game of hockey. I can't give you all of the details, but don't hate me. Don't quote me. Don't ever say I said this. But hockey is essentially soccer on ice.
I mean, okay. And now, as someone who played soccer, I'm dying to hear this explanation. So tell me about this. Tell me why it's soccer on ice.
You got to get something into a net at the other end of the field.
Fair. But you get to use equipment to do that.
Right. And there are rules about when you're in defense, whether or not you can use your hands. There's rules about how high your stick can come off the ground. There's rules about contact. And we can talk about all of that on another episode. But basically, it's a 6-on-6 game unless someone is in the penalty box. And we call that a power play when the other team has 6 and somebody is in the penalty box for the first team.
Makes sense.
So if you're ever watching and you see the words power play next to one of the team's names, it just means that someone on the other team is in the penalty box and they're down a man.
Smart.
Which in hockey, instead of a man, they call it a skater. Normally, that's 5 and a goalie. If things get rough, sometimes teams pull their goalie and leave their net empty because they need another skater on the ice to try and shoot.
That seems a little brave to me.
Yeah.
A little risky.
When you're down by that much, at that point, it's just trying to...
It's desperation.
Yeah, it is desperation.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's played in 3 20-minute periods with an intermission between each one. If at the end of the third period it's in a tie, it goes to overtime, which is sudden death. And there's not a lot of sports out there right now that play a sudden death overtime, but hockey is one.
Pretty cool.
And again, that is just the very basics of this game.
Thanks.
Okay? Now let me tell you this. I am not a hocky fan. I'm not against hockey.
No.
I don't follow hockey during the season. I don't have a team that I'm devoted to, other than, of course, the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, the Mighty Ducks. Hi, Josh Jackson.
I am talking about Gordon Bombay.
Right. There's a show. There's a show.
Oh, we have already watched the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, you have? Okay. I've only watched the first episode. Gordon Bombay, totally binging on cake with Lorelai Gilmore nearby. It just made my heart so happy.
Oh my gosh.
Shout
the
out.
show is great. The
Shout
show is great.
out.
And there were
Yeah.
many times where we were all like this.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah. And we have a tradition in our family that we watch Mighty Ducks every New Year's Eve. That's our stay up till midnight trick. Yeah, we always
That's a
watch
great
Mighty
idea.
Ducks.
I love it. Perfect.
All right, so that's another story for another day. But
Yeah, it
anyway, I got hooked on Stanley Cup. Again, just the playoffs, Stanley Cup hockey, because when I was in college, my roommate was dating someone who also had a roommate. And towards the end of the school year, they were seeing each other very often.
And it was awkward for you?
It was super awkward because he also had a roommate. And so the 2 male-female pairs kind of broke apart. And my roommate and her boyfriend went to one space, and then I'm left with this other guy. Well, neither of us were really into each other, but Stanley Cup playoffs were on, so we watched hockey.
Perfect.
And I got hooked. This year, it's a little bit different, but in general, you see the 3 best teams from each division and then 2 wild card teams.
Okay.
there's 4 rounds, and there's, we could say 3 rounds of playoffs and then the final.
Okay.
And each one of those is a best of 7 series.
Okay.
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 They play in a 2-2-1-1-1 series. So that means they play 2 games at one stadium, 2 at another, and then they flip-flop 1-1-1. Now, of course, it might not go to those last 1-1-1 games.
Sure.
Because best of 7 is just 4 games.
Right. So we're talking about the stadiums, their home stadiums. Yes, that's
Correct.
what we're saying. Okay. Okay.
Correct.
Got
This
it.
is
Okay.
not like the Super Bowl where it travels
where it's
city
only
to
in one
city.
place. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
This is just their
Good
home
question.
stadiums. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Now, this 2-2-1-1-1 is different than how a lot of other sports are played. For example, World Series baseball plays a 2-3-2.
That's a 2-3-2. Yeah. And again, that's also home stadiums, or at least it has been. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then
and it's a best of 7 as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So if you are looking to talk a little bit about Stanley Cup hockey, you can even ask, well, what do you think about the 2-2-1-1-1 format?
That's a great question to ask somebody.
And it sounds like you're so informed.
Yeah.
So tonight will be game 2 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. And that's the French pronunciation of
it is.
Canadian.
It does make you sound
because
fancy.
Montreal is in French Canada.
Quebec.
The Quebecois. So this is the only major sport that actually calls its finals by the trophy's name, right? We don't say the Vince Lombardi Super Bowl.
Yeah, no. That would sound weird. I don't like that.
Yeah, that would be weird. The Stanley Cup is the oldest trophy in major sports.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. What's really cool about it is they put the winners' names on the cup.
Yeah, they like stamp them on there, don't they?
Right.
That's so cool.
It's not everyone associated with the winning club because there's just so many people. So it's a select name. But they put everyone's name on there, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So they even nicknamed it the Stovepipe Cup at one point because it was getting so
they
tall.
had to, yeah. Oh, so then what do they do if it's so big? Never mind. That's probably not a question for right now.
No, that's a great question. So they've actually come up with this rotation process where you get your name engraved on the bottom panel, and it holds 13 teams.
Okay.
And then after 13 years, you'll move to the next panel, and then the next, and the next, and you can be on there for 65 years. Think back to your childhood, and you got those wicked cool pencils that were a plastic tube.
And you took the piece out?
You took the lead out of the front and put it in the back. This is the Stanley Cup. And if you lost one, the whole pencil you have to put
yeah, you were done. Or you could like shove something in there, but then you broke the whole pencil. Yeah, that was bad. But I loved those pencils. I even have some of those still somewhere.
There's lots of traditions associated with the Stanley Cup. Of course, the classic is when it's presented at the end of the final, every member of the team gets to skate around the ice carrying it over their heads. And in 2019, when the St. Louis Blues won, they forgot to mute the audio on the ice. So my husband and I were dying laughing, watching coverage on NBC and hearing all of these 20-something young men celebrate audibly.
Yeah. Oh, no.
After
Poor
they came
NBC.
back from commercial break, the announcers, we are aware that the mic on the ice was live.
It's hot. It's a hot mic. Hot mic. Oh,
Sorry
no.
about that.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
The FCC called.
I'm sure.
Yeah. The other thing that's really fun is the players will often drink champagne out of it. Now, the Stanley Cup, remember, it's the stovepipe cup.
It's huge.
On the bottom.
It's huge.
But it's also a big bowl on the top that's about 8 inches across. So it's like drinking champagne out of a dog bowl.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's everyone's dream, right? Is to drink champagne out of a dog bowl, or just like be able to stick your face in some champagne and just enjoy it. Listen, if I'm partying and I'm happy about that, I'm okay with drinking champagne out of a silver dog bowl with my team's name that will get stamped on it later on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's
cool.
very cool.
Yeah.
So just for now, know that the Tampa Bay Lightning are playing the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Dude, that's so helpful. Because I literally know nothing. Like all my hockey experience comes from living in Denver and watching University of Denver hockey team. So that's very helpful. I always loved going to the games, but I never knew anything about professional hockey at all. So that's helpful. Thank you for that. So the other Go Sports story we have for you is related to Pride Month. And it's the end of June. We're still in Pride Month. And this story just tugged at my heart, made me so happy. It's Carl Nassib. Carl Nassib is the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I grew up in California and Colorado, so for me, Las Vegas Raiders sounds very strange. But the Las Vegas Raiders defensive lineman Carl Nassib is the first active NFL player to publicly declare that he's gay. And so I took this information, this quote. One, I watched the video that he released on Instagram, which was very special. And he does it so casually and confidently, and it made my heart grow 3 sizes. But this is Ken Belson, who is a writer for the New York Times, put his words down on paper, and here's what he says. Carl Nassib says, "I just want to take a quick moment to say that I'm gay." Nassib said in a video posted to his Instagram account, "I just think that representation and visibility are so important. I actually hope that one day videos like this and the whole coming out process are just not necessary. But until then, I'm going to do my best and my part to cultivate a culture that's accepting, that's compassionate." Before adding that he would donate $100,000 to the Trevor Project, which is a nonprofit group that focuses on suicide prevention efforts among lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. What made me even happier about this story is that the Raiders were quick to support Nassib. Coach came out and talked about how it doesn't really change anything about his affection for the player. The organization itself came out. Also, individual teammates posted messages of support. The NFL actually confirmed last Tuesday that it would match Nassib's $100,000 donation to the Trevor Project. And across the country, this is my favorite part of this whole story, is that Nassib's lineman jersey was the top selling item on fanatics.com in the 24 hours after he came out on Instagram, which was just, That's know, so cool. Right? It was so cool. And whether that's, the Alphabet Mafia showing up in broad support, or it's just the public at large coming out to really just rally behind him. It just made my heart so happy that happened.
But what an easy way to show support for him,
right?
As well
Exactly.
As
Exactly. It just made, oh my gosh, it gave me chills. Of course, Nassib's the first active player. We can't forget about Michael Sam, who made headlines, 6-7 years ago now. In 2014, he came out as gay before the NFL draft. But then when he was drafted by the Rams, he actually got cut and then ended up being on the Dallas Cowboys practice squad, but never actually played a game on an NFL roster. So, there have been other players to do it. Most of them have come out after the fact, after they've played, after they retired, or whatever that may be. But a big congratulations to Carl Nassib. Shout out to you. We are so supportive of you, and I'm elated that you are seeing as much support as you are from the entire league, from fans, from non-fans, from everyone. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we've got some more we've got some more life stories for you guys as well. Yeah.
Our next segment is called I'm Not Ashamed.
It's this is the stuff when people talk about, I wish people would show the real side of motherhood. That's what this is, right? This is this is the non-Instagram, the unfiltered life stories that have been happening in our lives. And it's just time to say that this is what life actually is. That's why we're not ashamed of it. That's really what it is. Right. Yeah. So Jenny, what's yours this week? Because I'm sure you have a good one. Your life is hilarious.
Let me say first, my son broke his foot and is in a boot right now.
It's not funny.
My son, who is 2, is in a boot. We thought maybe, this will give us a break. He'll slow down a little bit.
No.
He's
2.
Now he's just has a weapon attached to his foot. So that happened on a Saturday.
So what was my homework after that happened? Can you tell everyone what my homework was?
Oh, this is a PSA for everyone. Call your insurance company right now and find out what ERs are in network.
Yep.
Do not wait
until
you have a toe that's pointing the wrong direction.
Oh man, it's such good advice, and I have it on my to-do list and I didn't do it. So I'm going to do my homework. I promise.
You should do this.
It is
an unfun task. It is monotonous, and staying on hold with the insurance company is terrible.
Awful. It's awful.
But find out where you can go.
Yep.
When the toe is pointing the wrong way. So that happened on a Saturday. On Friday, I'm back at the Children's Hospital because his eye is red and puffy.
Oh.
And I normally wouldn't take him in for something like this.
Right, because you're like, pink eye and
except
telemedicine. Yeah, exactly.
Right? If this happens on a Wednesday, you just wait it out and see what's going to happen. But Friday, my pediatrician's closed over the weekend. Mm-hmm. So we came into the pediatrician and they said, this is a weird case of pink eye. He doesn't have any mucus. I'm not 100% sure what this is. We can treat it as pink eye.
Nope.
But if his eye gets paralyzed or any more puffy, you should probably go to the ER. I'm medicated for my anxiety, but that is not going to cover.
No, that spiked
if his
my
eye
anxiety.
Gets paralyzed.
Hearing that story just spiked my heart rate. You don't say if his eye gets paralyzed.
If his eye gets paralyzed.
No.
So my rock star husband found a pediatric ophthalmologist who would take him at 4:00 on a Friday afternoon.
Oh my God.
And she looks straight at it and she says, well, it's not bacterial pink eye.
Perfect.
Great. Is it
What
a
is
scratch?
it? Right. Did he scratch his cornea? What's up?
What's going on? She says, well, does anyone in your house have a cold sore? I said, well, my daughter had a canker sore on Monday in her mouth.
Yeah.
And she says, well, sorry to tell you this, but your daughter gave your son herpes.
Oh my God. Oh no.
So it's herpes simplex, right? And this is a virus that 90% of people in the
Everyone
world
has
carry in their
this.
body,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Oh,
it's
God.
what causes those little white circle sores inside your lip that make you sensitive to ketchup.
Ketchup.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed. My daughter gave my son herpes.
I mean, listen, if he wasn't going to get it here, he was going to get it some other way.
At least let him learn about it at home.
Like, oh God, poor baby. Mine's a little bit more serious. I'm not really ashamed at all that my child is at his 4K class all summer long. I'm home. My husband works from home right now, and I'm paying for daycare, for full day daycare. He goes all day long, and I'm not ashamed of that because, we spent so much time together with quarantine last year, and I know for myself, I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home parent. I'm just not. Like, I don't have the patience, and my cup emptieth quickly. And so for me, this is me taking care of my mental health, but also like helping my child stay social. And his teachers are so great, and he's learning so much. It's good for him, and he loves it, and he misses his friends when he's not around them. So this is me not being ashamed that my child is not with me while I am at home at the summertime or during the summertime.
Oh,
Whatever.
Please. We did 15 months of everybody at home for quarantine. My son, in addition to having a broken toe and herpes in his eye, also has a heart condition. So we just didn't want to risk it.
No, I get it.
But let me tell you this. Now that I know my sitter is vaccinated and all of the families are on board with safe protocols, he's back 3 days a week.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's going to be 5 once I go back to school in August.
Right. I mean, and that's
He
something
needs it.
Yeah, he needs it. Like I would feel badly. There's enough, you only get 18 summers with your child. It's like, yeah, I know I only get 18 summers with my kid, but you know what?
It's not like he comes home and goes to bed.
No, a lot of time it's hot, so we don't necessarily want to take him back out, but like, we cuddle and we watch shows and we color pictures and we talk about his day and we, do as much as we can to enjoy each other's company when he's home. It's, it's not like we're sitting around doing nothing with him while he stares at the television the entire time. So
right. It makes your time together very intentional.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You're not running around trying to do all the stuff that you need to do that you can now do when he's not there.
Right, exactly. And I will say, my laundry, I've never been more caught up on my laundry in my life. So there's that. No, it's not all done, but it's like more done than it has been.
More done-er.
Right? Yeah. And some of it is actually put away.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I know I'm fancy. Oh man. So, and one thing that, we as parents are constantly dealing with, aside from massive piles of laundry and and taking our children to the ER when they have herpes of the eye, is just these silly things that happen randomly. So, my son Sam had a birthday a couple weeks ago and he turned 5. Jenny, I'm just going to let you take it from here because this story is just so amazing. It's just so great.
As I said, I have 2 children. I have the 2-year-old son and I have a 9-year-old daughter. She would always come to my class at the end of the school day and hang out with the middle school class that I taught because elementary gets out before middle school.
Sure.
So she is very precocious.
That's a great word. And tenacious. She's both of those things.
She is. She is. We're sitting up late one night before the party, and I said to her, "What do you think we should get for Sam for his 5th birthday?" And she doesn't skip a beat. This is not something that she spent a lot of time trying to come up with. This was her first thought right off the bat. She knew what we needed to get.
Can't wait.
She looked at me straight-faced and said, "Chicken scissors." Now, my precocious, highly intelligent, very sweet and well-meaning 9-year-old meant poultry shears. I checked.
I can't.
I made sure. Is there a product on the market right now that I have missed a commercial for that is a game, chicken scissors? Is it a video game? Is it a cartoon that I haven't seen yet? Is Chicken Scissors the new Paw Patrol? I'm not sure.
Which would have been perfect for my kid too.
No. I said,
oh, man.
Poultry shears? Like in the knife block? She goes, "Oh, yeah. I know Sam likes to eat chicken."
Pre-shaped frozen chicken. I mean, I microwave it first, or my husband does, but
These are scissors that are strong enough to cut through bone.
Right.
She suggests the 5-year-old needs them.
Well, he'll just run around with them for a little while.
We did not get chicken scissors.
No, we didn't. No.
Let me go on the
No,
record.
we didn't. Thank goodness. Oh, man. I could not. Like, what? How do you even keep a straight face?
And like I said, this was late at night. We had done a movie marathon. It was 11:30.
Oh.
When I texted Caitlin and said, "I'm sorry to text you this late, but you need to know that my daughter wants to give your son chicken scissors."
So, of course, like when my phone turns on the next morning, I get a bunch of text messages coming through, some from some friends and some from my sister. And then one of them just says, "My daughter wants to give your son, quote, chicken scissors." And I didn't even need to see the name to know where it came from. I'm looking at it going, oh, sweet goodness, what on earth? And I just laughed so hard. I immediately was like, "Look, show my husband." Oh my gosh, look at this. And we both laughed for a while about that one. It was so great. Chicken scissors.
We settled on an inflatable dinosaur costume.
Well, and he pretends to be a dinosaur all day long. But speaking of my son, we're at that age where he's noticing various things that are different between boys and girls, talking about it on a regular basis. And we don't yet always get time in the bathroom to ourselves. He's been very good about letting us be in the bathroom on our own. Really his whole life that, there's always the uninterrupted time that you desire in the bathroom. And then the off chance that your kid will just happily stroll right in as you're doing what you need to do in there. But my son has always been very good about, letting us have our time in there. But the other day I'm putting on sunscreen as we're getting ready to go to yet another birthday party at a pool. And I'm one of those put the sunscreen all over the body in the efforts to not miss the spaces where my swimsuit meets my skin, like the edge of the swimsuit spot, just because I've had the V burn on my butt where it just burns so badly. And so I'm putting sunscreen on. My son walks in. My son's watching me put on sunscreen, and he just asked me why I didn't put any on my vagina. And I'm looking at him like, my vagina is going to be covered up. I'm not showing that. What else right. I'm not going to have that out in the sun at a child's birthday party, by the way. That's where we're headed. So yeah, that was my ridiculous story of the week. There you go. That's my child asking me inappropriate questions. Yeah. Yeah. Should we move into this next one? Because we've got a couple of other things, but I am dying to talk about one other thing that kind of fits into Go Sports Corner, or Go Sports Circle Time, if I can. Are you following Leslie Jones on Instagram? Are you following her right now?
Should I?
Oh my gosh. I am obsessed. She is... It's Olympic trials right now. If you're lucky, I love the Summer Olympics. I love to watch. My husband's not that big of a fan. I think it interrupts with his baseball coverage. But I love it. I love Summer Olympics. I'm less into winter. It's okay. It's got some good stuff. I love watching snowboarding and stuff, but for me, summer is where it's at. I love to watch swimming.
When South Korea won the archery, I'm crying.
Oh, amazing. Just, I love it. So, Leslie Jones, formerly of SNL, is just killing it with her commentary as she's watching Olympic trials. It's so funny. And then the other day, she lost her mind. So Simone Biles, we all know, the literal greatest of all time gymnast, and just so incredible and inspiring, and just a bad mamma jamma. I just love her so much. Anyway, Leslie Jones is doing one of her commentary videos, and some commentator, I don't know who it is, probably better that I don't know who it is, has the audacity to say that she wasn't bringing her A game. And Leslie Jones just completely loses it. She's like, I'm sorry. What are you even talking? So it was her A- game. She's on the balance beam. It's 4 inches across. She slips a tiny bit. And you're saying she's not bringing her A game. Meanwhile, you look over, Simone Biles is dabbing her eyes, probably legitimately upset about not giving what she feels to be her perfect performance in these Olympic trials. We all know she's the star of the team. She's the star of the sport across the world at this point. And Leslie Jones is like, are you kidding me? You're going to actually sit here and say she didn't bring her A game. So was it her A- game? She was just so supportive, and she is incredibly hilarious and also so supportive of these athletes as she's commenting on what they're doing. Her video on the steeplechase had me in literal tears of laughter. I could not. She's just so great. So if you are looking for something to amuse you, Leslie Jones, her handle on Instagram is lesdog, LESDO, and then 4 Gs on Instagram. And I promise it is worth your time to give it a follow. But that's my current obsession right now. It's just watching these videos.
Simone Biles slips on the balance beam and still wins Olympic gold. I slipped on the curb and broke multiple bones.
Oh my goodness. One day we can get into the time that my leg fell through the bleachers in high school in front of my childhood crush. That's really the entire story. But honestly, this woman just being so supportive and yet also hilarious it's just too good to not follow.
Good.
So
it's good when it's uplifting like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My celebrity crush this week is David Venable, the host of In the Kitchen with David on QVC. Yes. I love home shopping. I have loved home shopping since I was 10 years old, and I bought my own TV for $5 at a garage sale. and it was a black and white TV.
Nice.
And my parents would not allow me to have cable in the bedroom, so I had to watch over-the-air TV. And I think the reason it was $5 at the garage sale is because the only thing that came in on it was the Home Shopping Network.
Nice.
Which, let me tell you what, if you're going to watch black and white TV, Home Shopping is the way to go because they describe everything in color detail.
Oh, for sure they do. Look at this beautiful yellow and orange flame detail on the side of these knives.
And it's actually not yellow, it's canary.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So
oh my God, I love it.
I love QVC. They're turning 35 this month, and so they offered
No way.
They offered this QVC throwback mug that has the new logo on one side and the old logo with the telephone on the other side. And David was selling it one night. And I'm telling you, I love the show. Like, it comes on Sundays and Wednesdays. I don't always have time to watch it live. So sometimes we watch it recorded.
Oh, my God. Okay, so just pause for a second. You guys should know Jenny has a mug in her hand right now. And I was really, really waiting for her to, like, show me the
I'm showing it.
Yeah, it has it. It's the QVC logo on one side. Yeah, it's not like a logo that could scratch off. It's in the side of the mug. This is amazing. So you did buy the mug.
Oh, I bought 2 of them.
Oh,
so that
perfect.
Abby and I can match and drink tea and watch QVC together. Abby, my 9-year-old or 60-year-old.
She's 60. She's 60. She's practically a golden girl. Oh my gosh, she's so funny. Okay, I have one thing I have to bring up, and this is just a quick complaint that I need to bring this up because I don't understand all of these articles that are talking about women, and basically it's hot girl summer, right? We all know it's hot girl summer time, and my hot girl summer is me literally sweating, being hot in the summer. But I found this article it was on one of those one of those e-magazines that comes to your inbox that has like 15 different stories. And one of them was about getting buttery smooth legs for summertime. And this made me laugh out loud because I was like, I have to read this. Of course I have to, because it's clickbait for sure. So anyway, I open it up and it's talking about how in order to have buttery smooth legs, you need to shave in the direction of the hair growth. So shave down, essentially, is what it's saying. Shave down.
Every 2 or 3 hours?
Yeah, I guess. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to read through this article. I'm going to figure the whole thing out. I'm going to actually follow the steps that are here. Just a shout out to not a shout out, more of a general wonderingment. Why does anyone shave their legs downward? Why would you do that? You don't get anything. You don't get anything. Like, it's not a face. It's not a man's face where you shave down. It just doesn't work. So I had an old lady moment. Like, it reminded me of like something that your daughter would just totally be like, are you kidding me with this? It was just so like, what? Why? Who? Shaving downward doesn't work, and it's a waste of your time. Like, why? Don't right? Bother. Don't. If any article is telling you here's how you get buttery smooth legs, and they say shave downward or shave with the direction of your hair growth, you need to close that article immediately because it is a liar. It is not true. Don't do it. I wasted my time.
If we are going to describe my legs as a dairy product, they're cottage cheese. Okay, so now it's time. It's time for some real talk.
I mean,
this is when you are putting your hair up.
Yeah, this is the top knot time right here. We're here to give it to you straight up about Botox and the ins and outs of that and what it's going to look like and what to expect if you are hoping to go down that road. And maybe this is a PSA to all of you ladies. It does make me feel better about myself. So if you are looking for something to help yourself feel a little bit more you, then maybe this is it. But this is just a heads up about me. I'm all about the whole aging gracefully process. It's no secret that Jenny and I are close to 40. We're not 40. We're getting closer though. I'm just going to start telling people that I am, because then when I actually do turn 40, it'll be I'll look more youthful. But actually, that's what the Botox is for. So whatever.
I am knocking on 40's door, which is fine.
Right. I'm okay with it. I've never personally colored my hair. I have red hair. It's an auburn sort of color. Pretty sure my mom made me swear up and down when I was 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, and 17 that I would never color my hair. I don't really intend on starting it. It's too tedious for me. I just don't, it's not my thing.
And then I change my hair color the way I change my socks.
I mean, which I love. It's not,
everybody's different.
Everybody's different. And I think I'm type A minus, right? Like I need certain things to be a certain way, but this is where the minus comes in is my hair. I just don't, it's a wild texture, whatever.
And I like to say that I have no gray hair, but it's only because I color my hair so often I would never know.
Mine is white. Red hair doesn't turn gray. It turns white. So it's, like I've got, Claus. Yeah. Like Tim Allen in The Santa Claus. Like it just turns, which is underrated movie, by the way. So, that could change. When I actually hit 40, I may decide that it's time or whatever. But for now, I'm okay with it. But my skin is finally in a place that I'm happy with. I've had, adult acne issues and then like a really horrible like skin picking habit that just makes things worse. And finally I'm at a place where, thanks to medication and retinols, I'm in a good place with my skin. And so with COVID, I would
say that your skin is buttery smooth.
Oh, thank you. Just here on the face, not on the legs, unless I shave the correct direction, which is up, not down. Just in terms of aging gracefully for myself, I've decided I can either have the white hair or rough skin, but I can't have both. I can't do the white hair and the Grand Canyon on my forehead. It just won't work for me. So I decided that since I'm not going to do the hair coloring route, I'm going to look into some skin improvements. And I went with Botox. And my son, decided to point out, like, Mommy, why you got that line on your head? And I was like, oh, there's my sign. It's time. If you needed a sign, it's your 5-year-old telling you that you have lines on your head. So a couple of months ago, end of April, I went in for my first Botox experience. And so the information that I'm going to give you now is from a cosmopolitan.com/UK article by Samantha Friedman, who was carefully documenting her first time Botox experience. And she's in her late 20s. And so her experience is a little different from mine, I think. But, and then another website, arizonaderm.com. And then again, just my own personal experience. So
I like that you're citing your sources.
This is the teacher in me, right? Like,
this is it.
This is the teacher in me. I don't ever want to be accused of having stolen something. My husband went to school for, intellectual property law. So I think if I didn't cite my sources, I'd probably be violating something that he would yell at me for later on.
I just made up all the stuff about Stanley Cup, so I don't need to.
She knew all that. It was common knowledge, you guys. To clarify, Botox, I always make jokes about botulism being put in my face, but that's not what it is. Botox is the brand name for a chemical derivative that comes out of that botulism toxin.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it is not Botox. The botulism toxin can actually cause like pretty serious illness, including paralysis of various body parts. But
you remember that episode of Pete and Pete where he turned all the cans bad and then he ate them because he wanted to get botulism so he could miss whatever assignment he had?
Yes.
Yeah. This is what I think about every time someone says Botox. I think of cans exploding.
Right, and it's not that at all. It is. I think of it, I liken it to like CBD, right? You pull out the stuff that's helpful and then you leave the rest of the stuff that might not be so helpful. So Botox is produced by a company, Allergen. And so Botox is the brand name of this product. And it does weaken, or in my case, completely freeze the muscle in your face that causes the lines that you make when you have various expressions on your face. It is not fillers, which we can address in a different podcast, but
I am learning this for the first time today.
Yes, fillers are what make you look like a Real Housewife or an actress who's really trying to maintain, what she had at one point. A couple of names come to mind, but I don't want to disparage, so I won't do it. But Botox weakens those muscles temporarily. It does not fill in anything. So you're not going to look like a Real Housewife. Shout out to the Real Housewives franchise. God bless you, Andy Cohen, and all of your amazingness, because Bravo is where it's at for me. So just when I went in, I went to a local medical spa just up the road from me. It's a common one here in Austin, but they are not promoting this. So I am going to keep all names private and all that. And if they decide they'd like to sponsor, I'm here for it. That said, I filled out a bunch of like intake forms online. They want to know some medical history, particularly if you're like pregnant or whatever. I, of course, being the sarcastic person that I am, put baby's first Botox in my appointment line when they were asking what I was going in for. Baby's first Botox. When I got there, I had my COVID screen. You probably will have to wear a mask. I don't know how long it's a medical spa, right? So I don't know how long you're going to be required to wear a mask, but it's probably going to be a while. So then you, after you are brought back into the room, they'll do some before pictures, and it's a lot of like awkward expression making, right? So like they tell you to make an angry face, or, raise your eyebrows as high as you can. And they take a bunch of pictures of you so that they can track your progress. And then also your practitioner will look at those pictures and go, okay, this is where I see we've got some issues here. And of course they'll make you do those faces again when they're in front of you. But, it's lots of face scrunching as much as you can possibly do. And then my practitioner, I'm going to call her, Dr. Kelsey for this, particular podcast, but she walked me through the treatment process, saying, typically this is about your normal range of units that you'll get, and units being like, how many, not injections, but just that's the way they price it out, is the number of units that go into your face. The common range is anywhere from 10 to 25. I believe I had 23. That sounds about right. And I told her, my primary focus needs to be my forehead. Like, that's where my Grand Canyon is showing up. That's where my son noticed that I had lines on my head. So I said, please, work on my forehead. And she told me that you can't just do your forehead. So if that is your concern, you cannot just do that. You have to do what's called your 11s, which is that furrowed brow sort of look when you scrunch your eyebrows up and you look angry. Those are your 11s, because it looks like an 11 on your face. And so they can
But when you say 11s,
yes,
the nerd in me hears 11s,
yeah,
which is one of the meals that hobbits eat each day.
Yeah. Second breakfast. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
After second breakfast is
elevensies. You're right. Oh man, I haven't. Oh, I need to watch that movie again. But
sorry,
yeah,
continue.
It's all good. So yeah, so they can do just your 11s, but they can't do just your forehead. So you have to do both because they work together. So I had my 11s done and then my forehead done. And then they'll use like an alcohol wipe or like a whatever, and they'll clean it up real quick. So if you're wearing makeup, expect that it'll be wiped off wherever you're getting your injections. Lift your eyebrows. Okay, get angry. Okay, lift your eyebrows again and relax. Okay, and again, and then relax. And so they're looking at where exactly to put all of these injections in your face to make sure that these muscles are being targeted correctly. And then she, again, gave me my 23 units across my forehead and then down my 11s. And then, of course, you're going to get the upsell sort of question is like, should we also do your crow's feet? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know I needed my crow's feet. But, she stopped and so I just had that localized area done. It didn't hurt. I did bleed, it's a needle, right? So it's going to go into your face and you're going to bleed. And head injuries, if you've never had one, they bleed quite a bit. And so you do get bloody, but they're really quick about wiping it off. So it's not like you're going to walk out of there looking like a pincushion or anything. And it took about 10 minutes. And then right around the end of it, she was like, hey, let's bring you back in 2 weeks and take a look and see how things are going. Peak Botox effectiveness hits around 2 weeks in. So at that point, they'll be able to look at it and go, okay, we missed this spot or whatever it was. I unfortunately was not able to get in for a 2-week follow-up, even though I tried. So for a little while, there was a spot that needed to be addressed right above my the arch of my eyebrow. So as I was lifting my eyebrows, I looked a little bit like Michael Keaton, just like super pointy. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. And I just had like I couldn't, it was like The Rock, like the one eyebrow looked higher than the other, that very famous Dwayne Johnson face. And so
The Rock is cooking.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a little bit of that. And then when I went back, my practitioner, Dr. Kelsey, was like, you can't do that. We're not going to let you walk around like that. And was very quick to address the concern. And so I don't have that issue anymore.
That feels good. Because, with my anxiety, I would be afraid to call. And I was like, I don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah, I was afraid to call.
I don't want to be a complainer.
Yeah, no. And it's like when you go and get a bad haircut and you don't say anything, and then you feel bad about yourself, when really what your hairstylist wants is for you to feel good about yourself. And, again, her name is attached to whatever I tell people. So she wants to make sure that I don't walk around looking like Michael Keaton when I don't want that look. And afterwards, I felt great. I went to a wedding back home in Colorado about 3 weeks after it was done. And I received compliments on my skin from my aunt, who is very much a skincare nerd kind of person. And I haven't, again, I've struggled with skin issues my whole life, so I've never really gotten skin compliments. So when I did, I was like, yes, my dad, when I got there, was like, oh my gosh, you look great. Like, my dad noticed that there was a difference. I don't think Bryce would have necessarily noticed, but I did tell him that's what I was doing. So he was like, yeah, typical husband response. But it was noticeable that I looked different.
If I could turn
exactly,
back time.
Exactly. Yeah. My forehead is so happy right now. And I can show you, like, I can't, this is coming back, right? Like, it's been 2 months. So this is coming back, but it's really not.
She's pointing to her forehead, BT dubs, because we're on video, but you are not.
You are not. And then also, if I make an angry face, like, this is as hard as I can go. And you can't, like, I can't feel any sort of 11, marks in my skin. So it was noticeable. And I personally felt great. Like, I felt like I looked the way that I wanted to be looking, which was really nice. So yeah, that's kind of the basics, but I'm sure I missed some stuff.
So, when do I know if it's time for me to get Botox other than my 5-year-old saying, hey?
I would say if you have noticeable lines on your face, typically late 30s would be about when, early 30s is when you might want to start. It is possible you could walk in and your practitioner's like, you got nothing going on here. There's no need for you to get Botox, which is great, right? But like, a lot of them will say, hey, I see this line starting. Let's do some preventative work. So I would say, yeah, I think that if you see a line on your face that is there more than it's not, that's probably a good indication that it's time to make an appointment. And if you're not sure, if it feels a little early, then go in and talk to them. Go in and talk and just see what you can find out about it. And that might be a way to get you started.
On that same note about finding out, talking to them, well, what's this going to run me?
Okay, so that's a really good question because, obviously it varies depending on the spa.
I'm talking about a respectable place.
Sure.
I'm not getting Botox in someone's basement.
That they developed from a can on Pete and Pete.
Right.
So that's poison. Don't do that. So the places that when I was doing my research, the places I saw, in terms of the number of units, it's priced by unit. So you're going to see anywhere from like $10 to $15 a unit. I would say if you're spending more than $15 a unit, it's too expensive.
And you said the average is between 10 and 25 units.
For a treatment, right. So,
for a treatment. Right.
So it could, if you are getting 25 units at $10 a unit, that's pretty pricey, right? And that said, like, the place that I went is a franchise in town. So they have so many locations. There's like a mothership, a little further south of here. They have specials all the time. Look at that. I'm sure that there's things on Groupon you could go look at, but again, look for somewhere between like $10 and $15 a unit. I would say if you're hitting that $14, $15 mark, that's pricey. I probably wouldn't go any less than 10.
Other than cost, how do I evaluate if the place is somewhere I want them to put needles in my face?
Again, no basements. Do your research and maybe ask around. And obviously it's not polite to go, your skin looks beautiful. Do you get Botox? But like, if there's someone who, like me, is very willing to talk about it, ask for a recommendation in terms of what you want. Like, just ask around and see who likes their practitioners. Look for reviews. Again, I tend to stay away from like Groupon in terms of things that I'm going to have injected into my face. But that doesn't mean that you can't look up the name of a med spa that's offering a Groupon service on Yelp and see what you find out, or on Google reviews or whatever. But word of mouth is a great way to get a great recommendation. It's not going to be covered by insurance unless you have, like, some people do get headaches, right? So then you can sometimes see Botox being used to treat stuff like that. Oh, no.
Yeah. And neither of us are medical professionals. Like we said, we're teachers.
Nope.
This is in no way advice.
No.
This is truly Caitlin sharing her experience and everything that she had to learn in order to take this adventure for herself. Mm-hmm. And this is the whole idea behind our podcast, is that as we are learning things that we need to know, we figure, why don't we make it easy on you?
Right.
And share all this work that we've done so that you have some information too. We in no way are a substitute for doing your own research and talking to your own friends and talking to the own professionals that you already have established relationships with.
Of course. And like, some places are just going to feel shady, right? Like if you walk in and you're like, methinks no, then trust that, because that's a real thing. So don't walk into a place that you don't feel comfortable. It'll be clean wherever you go. If it's not clean, walk out. It's a medical spa. You better be able to walk in and smell cleanliness, right? So that's important. What else? What else do you need to know?
I don't know. Is there anything that I haven't asked you?
Oh, yeah. Let me talk about preparation and recovery time, because that's a big deal. And I briefly touched on how I felt, but I really didn't talk about how I felt immediately after the fact.
Besides beautiful.
Right, of course. Stunning, obviously. In terms of preparation, literally nothing to do to prepare, right? Like, I had makeup on, she wiped it off. Like, it was nothing in terms of preparation.
Maybe brush your teeth, since you're going to be in close contact with another human.
Fair point. And they will ask you to take your mask off because they need to see your facial expressions.
Your whole face.
Right.
Of course.
But like, that was it. Just making sure that I didn't smell like a foot when I walked in was appreciated, I'm sure. In terms of recovery, like they'll walk you through this when you get this done. But the biggest things are no exercise right away, like not immediately after. If you're an afternoon exerciser, either plan to skip it or exercise before you go, because you won't be able to exercise right away. I had my appointment in the early afternoon and was fine to work out the next morning. I'm an early morning exerciser, so that was not a problem. No hats and no rubbing the area. Anything that's going to potentially move where they've injected the Botox is a no-no. So if you are rubbing your head a lot, like I'm rubbing my forehead right now, if you're doing that, that's not okay. Keep your hands off your face.
So in order for me to recover well from this, I need to spend 24 hours away from my husband so I don't facepalm when he starts to talk.
If that's something that is irregular in your life, then yes, you would need to do that. Nothing that's going to put pressure on where you've had your injections, because then you'll move the injections and then it won't work the way that it's supposed to work. So I think it's 24 hours without a hat, but I'm sure someone is going to tell me that it's, more or less than that.
Which, welcome.
Yeah,
Please,
if you're listening, please give us the advice.
And you have information that we're missing or that we're incorrect, please correct us.
Tweet at us and we'll TopKnotTalk pod is our Twitter handle. But tell me what I'm messing up here, because I want to fix it. And then again, don't lie down after your appointment. You've got like 4 hours, so like don't go get it at night and then think you're going to sleep like 3 hours later, because you're not going to do that. I'm someone who has sensitive skin. Sensitive to light. If I get a cut on my skin, it takes forever to heal, stuff like that. But I was not red. I was not blotchy. I did not bruise. That said, there are plenty of women who do look a little bit pincushiony after this happens. They do get bruising sometimes. The woman that I read her article about her first time with the Botox experience, she did
Cosmo.
bruise. Yes, in Cosmo. She did bruise on her forehead, and she has pictures of those. But that was not my experience at all. You might see some swelling or some redness at the injection sites. Again, that was not my experience at all. You couldn't tell that I had anything done. Like I walked out looking normal. And again, that's someone with sensitive skin, pale skin, red hair. I did, however, have a little bit of a Botox headache. That's a real thing. You can take ibuprofen for it. I think it lasted a few hours, but it wasn't.
Wait. Someone put needles in your face and then you had a headache afterward?
I did, but it wasn't bad. It was like a mild, it didn't even feel like a tension headache. It was just like,
it was like a needle face headache.
Yeah. Like I could tell, and it's cause it's like starting to weaken all those muscles around the front of your head. So yeah, I mean, you're going to feel that a little bit, but I just took ibuprofen and I was fine. Like it wasn't something that interrupted my day or whatever. If that headache lasts for longer than 2 days, you should probably reach out to your practitioner. With all that being said, there are people who do have severe allergic reactions to Botox. And so if you are one of those peoples, whatever, please monitor your side effects, write them down, do something so that you can take that information either back to your practitioner, or if you have to, like, get thyself to the ER. If it's bad, if you have any shortness of breath or anything, your practitioner's not going to be able to help with that. Go to the doctor, go to the emergency room.
And surely, as part of your experience, they kind of walk you through what to look for, eh?
Yeah, they do. Dr. Kelsey was so calm about it all. She's like, here's what should happen and here's what shouldn't happen. And if this does happen, call me. And, or if this happens, go to the emergency room. I didn't have that in my personal experience. And it's pretty rare for people to have those particular side effects. Probably the number one question that people have asked me in doing this, and when I've shared my experience, is, do you see results immediately? And everyone's under the impression, I mean, I certainly was. I thought I was going to walk out of there, be glowing instantly. And that's really not it at all. You have to wait a few days before you start to see anything,
But now that we understand the science behind it, that it's not a filler, it's a muscle treatment, that makes sense.
Right. It takes, I think after like 3 or 4 days, I started to notice like, hey, like I can't lift my eyebrows as high as I used to be able to do that. Or like a full weekend is when I noticed I had the Michael Keaton eyebrow situation. Like
Batman.
Yeah. And it wasn't like it was permanently like that. It was like when I tried to lift my eyebrows, that's when the Michael Keaton came out. Right. But like a week in, I noticed it. 2 weeks in is, again, peak of when you're going to see the results. 3 weeks in, I was like, oh my God, glorious. Right. Like I could have had unicorn rainbow hair. I was feeling myself after about 3 weeks. And then in terms of how long it lasts, it's like 3 to 6 months. I think
oh, wow.
Yeah. I think the earlier you are in your treatment process, the less long it lasts.
Of course, that makes sense. Just like a laser treatment for hair removal.
Right. Which also PSA does not take on redheads, just so you know.
You just have to shave in the hair growth direction.
Oh my gosh, stop.
Sorry. I'm sorry to go back to that well, but
I
it's
can't.
just too funny.
It's just too funny. I mean, I'm 2 months in, like my lenses are still weakened and I can't make the faces that would normally make me wrinkle up the way that I had been. So, I'm still doing okay. I did make my appointment for 3 months after. Like I do plan to go in and get touched up again at the 3 month mark. And I think for the first couple times I do this, I will make sure that I go in every 3 months. And then as things appear to be working more, I'll shoot for, 4 months and try and drag it out a little bit.
Those listeners who have their hair colored professionally or have highlights, you kind of get to know how long you can go between having your hair done. For my mom, she is every 6 weeks and will not miss a beat. Her hairdresser lives 90 minutes away and she will drive it. Mm-hmm. And then for me, I know that I can go a little bit longer than 6 weeks, but around 12, I'm starting to look like Madonna circa 1988.
Nice. It's a good look. For her
at that time.
Yeah.
But the blonde hair, dark roots is just not
It's
cute
not a
now.
thing. Yeah, it's not a thing that I really am into for myself. But I've never had the blonde hair, so I don't have to worry about it. And also, like, just to clarify, it's like going to a hairdresser. If you don't like your results, please go back to your practitioner. Go back and just say, like, hey, Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger worked together really well, but Michael Keaton doesn't live here on this space. So if you could just address that concern, they want you to walk out feeling good. That's literally the entire point of this process, right? Is to have you feel good about yourself. And so if you walk out and 2 weeks later, you have one eye that's drooping and it's not supposed to be, go in and talk to them, because there's a really good chance that all it's going to take is another little needle prick and it'll fix it. And again, in terms of what it feels like, it feels like, those derma rollers. Have you ever used a derma roller before? It's like the little needle thing that's a roller on your face.
No.
You haven't used that before? It helps like
not.
serums go in. I'm sure that there's someone who might be listening who's used a derma roller before, but it feels like that. It's like tiny. It's a tiny little skin prick. If you're not good with needles, then don't look at them while they do this. But otherwise, like, you're going to be fine. And if all it takes is one little or two little pricks to help it go back to the way you want it to look, by all means, go back. Like, talk to them and say, this is what it looks like. And a lot of places, especially if it's like a big med spa, you can book online, and then you don't even have to talk to someone if you're like me and feels nervous calling people. So that's my general experience with the Botox process. I'm sure that I missed something. Again, if there's something that you think I should share with our listeners, hopefully we have some. Right. Hopefully we have some. Then please tweet at us. Again, it's TopKnotTalk Pod on Twitter. So just, let us know, because there are things that I'm sure I missed, but just wanted to make sure that I, got this information out there, because at these parties I was asked over and over again, either what are you doing to your skin, or how does it work? Tell me about that. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought it up. Can you tell me what your experience was like? Things like that. So I'm sure that people want to know what I missed.
Well, with that, we are ready to wrap up for the week.
Yay!
Tune in next week, where I will talk to you about my experience in buying concert tickets without being scammed.
Legit concert tickets, not...
So I got
not
in trouble this morning because I sent my husband a link for tickets for an event, and it was secondary market, and he told me, no, Jen. You need to learn how to buy concert tickets.
Yeah,
and so he's already committed that he will teach me this week.
Perfect. So that will be exciting. And thank you guys so much for listening. We've got Instagram and Twitter handles. Again, it's TopKnotTalk Pod on both Instagram and Twitter. If you like us and you enjoyed our show, we'd love for you to like and subscribe. If you are a family member, you are obligated to like and subscribe, but you do not have to listen.
Well, thanks again for listening. And like a mom would always say, make good choices.
And, use your gift cards, because you have them. Go find one. Use it. Thanks, guys.
Hey friends, thanks for listening to the CK and GK podcast. Find us at CK and GK podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, or anywhere else that you pod. See you next time.